The Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast is brought to you by a terrified scream of utter despair. Because that's how we're feeling right now.
Okay.
And then the music will play. And then the lights go up and the crowd goes wild. Ah, here they are. And they're so excited. I walk out on stage, and then SomeColorMage walks out on stage, and then they just start losing it. I mean, the applause is even louder for SomeColorMage. Then Technobliterator comes out on stage, and the crowd actually starts booing inexplicably. And
what?
Oh no!
What did I ever do to you?
What happened? And then it turns out we're all naked. It's a nightmare.
Oh god.
Yeah. Right?
Wait, shit, I'm not sure why that changed I had when I saw May naked.
And then our teeth fall out, and we have to repeat kindergarten.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yes, it does get worse. So
what do they call kindergarten?
They call it kindergarten.
Oh, they do. Okay. Well,
yes.
We always called it nursery.
Nurseries.
Don't ask me why. Yeah, nursery school.
Oh well.
Don't ask me why.
No, we had nursery schools. I mean, we had pre-K.
Oh, was it?
It was okay. I remember I got in trouble a lot. Would that surprise you that I was often in trouble in preschool?
I was in trouble all the time at every level of school I was at until I was at college.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, there was... The only thing I didn't do was skip classes. And if I could do it all over again, I would skip a few classes.
Fair enough.
'Cause no one would have cared, honestly. Like, high school, no one really cares, and I could have gotten away with so much shit more than I did. But...
Yeah,
so...
we used to get told that every detention you would get would go on some kind of record, right? And
I wish.
like it would get like you get kind of flagged somehow almost, like, and every detention you have, right, that your employers would know about all the times you got detention in school.
Oh.
And that used to convince enough of us to not get in trouble.
I should put the number of times I got detention on my resume and see how my employers react. Which, honestly, is a difficult thing to count because I got detention so often. Probably about 50 times. I got suspended about 5 times. I got academic probation once. You know. Lots of things happen.
Fun.
Yeah. So,
yeah, God, I was the very standard good kid and had so many teachers on my side I probably could have gotten away with a lot more shit.
Yeah. Well, you know. You never live until you curse out your teacher because of reasons.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast. It's a podcast about nothing. I don't even know. There's a website called finalfantasy.fandom.com that we run, or ran in some cases. And it continues to exist. There's this series called Final Fantasy. That also continues to exist. And, you know, things happen. Right?
And we are glad it continues to exist, just to be clear.
Yeah, sure. It gives us something to do.
It does, and, you know, every now and then they come out with a good game.
Mm-hmm. If you look at the arc of history since Final Fantasy started and where human civilization is now, one could argue that Final Fantasy has been a massive net negative, and things only get worse the longer we are in the post-Final Fantasy era.
One could very much argue that.
Though perhaps I am correlating things that do not need to be correlated. Causating correlation, you know, that old chestnut. So you want to do the news?
Yeah, so the only real bit of news this month was 7 Rebirth is out on PC now. is Steam Deck verified, and my understanding is it's got pretty good reviews on PC. Like, not as good as the PS5 version, but my understanding is the reviews were decent.
Okay. And yeah, that's all we have to say about Final Fantasy VII on PC. That's it. That's the whole story.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it's
can
there.
play it on. I've seen some pretty fun videos of people playing it on Steam Deck or whatever. That is probably a really good way to enjoy that game, I reckon. I have no idea what it's like playing on a system that doesn't have a solid state drive, so I don't know what the load times are going to be like.
I imagine that 7 Rebirth would make my Steam Deck so hot that if I were to put it down to the floor, it would melt through the floor and literally create a China syndrome, because it would dig its way all the way to the planet due to how hot it would make the CPU on that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we also have other news.
We do. Well, one last thing I'll say about Rebirth on PC is the few reviewers I've seen that I trust say that it is one of the better PC ports that Final Fantasy has done, and apparently it reached the best players, like concurrent players numbers that the series has had up until now, which is great.
PC?
On PC, or at least on Steam.
Okay.
Right?
Oh yeah, Steam.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not counting Epic Games Store, which might be like 1% of the Steam numbers, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be like fuck all, basically. So that's good that it's doing really well there.
Okay, I can actually give you hard data for that. This is brought to you by a reputable video game website called ScreenRant.com. Thank you, Google, for giving me this.
Yeah, there's some.
All right.
Like, thank you for the pitch meetings, but other than that, your content is kind of clickbait.
All right, so the title managed to reach an all-time peak of 40,564 fans playing at the same time, according to SteamDB. Yeah. Why did Google give me this? Because now it's telling me that they got it from SteamDB, who in turn, no, they got it from Eurogamer, who in turn got it from SteamDB. So why does the Screen Rant article even exist? What a waste of everyone's time.
Well, to get high on Google results, I guess.
Yeah. This unseats the 2 most recent titles, Final Fantasy 15 and 16, which each had a peak of 29,000 and 27,000 concurrent players, respectively.
Damn, that's good then. That's really good. That's really impressive.
I guess it's all right. I don't
Yeah,
know
well,
the precise
yeah,
way you translate that to whatever.
to sales. Well, I just suggest that it's sold better than those two, although I don't know if the data supports that. Or more likely, it suggests that I think PC gamers are growing as a demographic, which does translate to, you know, this series needs to put more games on PC because it's going to sell more. And I say that as someone who's not a PC gamer.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think, you know, good news, good numbers. You know, more Final Fantasy. Let's go.
Okay.
And apparently there's rumors that it's coming to Switch 2 and coming to Xbox, which also good news.
I guess it's good news for everyone on Xbox. We'll see if it's on Switch 2, because I imagine that the Switch 2 launch lineup is going to be very crowded. So I don't know if it's going to be a launch game, but it'll probably be there probably by 2026. If you want,
I'm skeptical that it'll be able to run that, but if it is, then yeah. I will say I'm really fascinated by the Switch 2 personally. Like, my Switch, I got some, you know, I had some fun playing the Nintendo games on my Switch. But I'll be honest, every time I bought another game, I never preferred it over just playing my PS4 or PS5, because I found it was too much of a compromise for me. You know, I didn't really like using it portably because it didn't have Bluetooth headphones, right? So I could never really use it that much, and it was a bit too big to be carrying around all the time. And then when I took it home, it was never as good as an experience as just playing a home console.
Well,
so we'll
the
see how
Switch-
good the Switch 2 is.
The Switch is, well, the Switch 2 is going to be bigger than the regular Switch. We've seen that because that was
Right.
in the announced trailer. But also, the
Yeah,
Switch
yeah.
is considerably smaller than a Steam Deck, which is actually very heavy and feels clunky, and I never actually want to take it anywhere because that thing feels
Right.
like if you drop it once, it's going to shatter into a billion pieces and then melt its
Yeah.
way through the center of the Earth, as mentioned previously.
Right, yeah. Like the form factor of that, I mean, while it's passable, it never really looked great to me
Mm.
because, like, you know, they're basically shoving a PC into a handheld portable device. That's not like the Switch, which is, you know, it's an NVIDIA Tegra mobile environment. It's designed to be lightweight.
It's meant to be a good piece of kit. The Steam Deck is, though, right? Like I've heard good
Yeah.
things about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's a great bit of engineering, but it's not like Nintendo engineering, which is made to be used by 7-year-olds who, you know,
Right.
draw on it with crayons and smack it against their sister's face or whatever, you know?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
the
kind
Steam
of thing.
Deck is a beefy device for enthusiasts, whereas Nintendo makes
Okay.
stuff for 5-year-olds that will have a hyper moment and accidentally throw the device out of their apartment building.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the kind of thing that you take on a long vacation with you to use at the hotel room, but not the kind of thing that you take with you on the train to work, for example.
I mean, you can. I have literally taken it to work and played it, you know, at my lunch break.
Well, yeah, but like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And it is also made for a 4-year-old to drop it in their Cheerios in the morning, and it'll still survive somehow. We have a million use cases for the Switch. All right.
Do we have more news?
We do, actually. So speaking of Final Fantasy VII, this was recently released by a website called frontlinejp.net, which was posted on Reddit Games, so I'm assuming it's at least halfway decently reliable. This is the top 100 best-selling games of 2024. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the highest PlayStation 5 game, with 358,353 copies sold, and this is only logging physical, not digital sales. If you are curious, yes?
I wonder if there's data on like how much a percentage of a game being sold is physical these days, and how
I
much
imagine
of it
they're-
is digital only.
I imagine somebody does have that data, but they keep it secret because they don't trust you.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the number one game in Japan was, according to frontlinejp.net? Do you have a guess?
FIFA,
No.
Mario
In
Kart.
Japan?
Oh, you actually got it, Techno. It was Super Mario Party
yeah?
Jamboree. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Did you just get like way louder all of a sudden?
I might have done, but that might just be me getting excited.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you want to know what the 100th best-selling game in Japan was? Because this is the top 100.
Final Fantasy something.
No. Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown Deluxe Edition for the Switch, which sold 32,929 copies.
So basically, everything that did well over in Japan was Switch or Final Fantasy.
No, I mean, there's all kinds of weird nonsense on this, like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which sold another 244,000 copies. Or,
Right, but that's not going to be PlayStation, right?
no. Oh, you're wondering what the next PlayStation game is. Let me go.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you know what the next PS5 game is. On this list, 7 Rebirth. Next is Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake for PlayStation 5, which sold 230,000 copies.
Okay.
Marvel Spider-Man 2 sold 157,000 copies. That was in 23rd place.
That's not surprising.
Infinite Wealth sold 152,000 copies and was the 25th best. And Rise of the Ronin is 144,000. Stellar Blade is 137,000.
Okay.
Also that game's not very good.
Well, so it sounds to me like the Japanese market is very distinct from the Western market for video games. Although I guess that's always been the case to an extent, hasn't it?
To a degree, but at the same time, like the high end stuff isn't doing great in the West either. Like, you know, Sony and Microsoft have both spent the past few years basically shooting themselves in the dick over and over.
Sony especially
Like-
in the last couple of weeks. My goodness.
Did Astro Bot do well?
Yes. It's not on this
Nice.
list though. I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
Astrobot, I would presume that the sales for that were mostly digital. But
Yeah, true.
but like the thing is, while Sony have adopted a strategy that does not appeal very well to Japan, and Microsoft never had a strategy that appealed very well to Japan, they're both also flailing in. They're both also flailing in the West because you know, turns out $70 is a huge ask for most of the
Yeah.
big video games.
Yeah,
It's
and
even worse in the rest of the world because, you know, Nintendo, they also do 70 in a case by case basis. I'll just give you an example as to why that doesn't hurt Nintendo so much. So, you know, the average $70 video game. Can you guess how much that sells for down here in Australia? You can give me the value in either Australian or American. I've got the conversion up here to just quickly
So-
do the math on.
Is that like the price per game or?
Yeah. Like,
Price
what
per-
do you think a $70 video game costs in Australia for PS5 or Xbox Series X?
I believe it is $110.
I was gonna
Yes,
say
it is
that.
in the
Yeah.
110 to 115 range, which is actually $70.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna
but-
suggest that.
But what do you think? What do you think Tears of the Kingdom cost? That was $70.
In Australia, they
Uh,
sold it for 70 Australian dollars.
In Australia, they sold it for 80, which is $50. Nintendo is
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nintendo is just cheaper in most of the world because
That
they
does-
actually
that does
understand
make
how
a lot of
pricing
sense.
works.
Yeah. I mean that like you can't really mess with that as a business strategy. That's just a smarter way of doing it.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the issue that I believe we've discussed. We must have, where video game production is endlessly getting more and more expensive, and
Yeah.
a lot of developers are like, "We gotta sell this for $100 US. We gotta sell this for $110
Yeah,
in order
that's
to still
trying
be
to
making
Oh
money."
on
god,
that, like-
that fucking there's like some industry analyst thing that came out this month. There's like identifying all these problems, and then its solutions include like, oh, you gotta sell for $100. Nobody's going to buy your $100 video game.
No, it's not happening. Like what we need to do is just find a way to bring the cost down. That's what needs to happen. Right? Like the bubble is burst, mate.
The only real viable answer is smaller projects, and
That's true,
like
yeah.
that could cause layoffs and such. But my general view in video games is that if you have budgeted as such that you need more than 1 million sales to reach expectations, you've overspent. It's like video games that sell significantly more than $1 million are a rarity,
A million
even in the
copies,
high-end
yeah.
space.
Yeah.
It's
If
the
you
exact
are-
same problem. Sorry, go on.
If you are, say, BioWare, and you are completely, basically shut down because you only sold 1.5 million copies of Dragon Age... What the hell was that even called?
Valgard.
Alright. I was going to call it Sniper Wolf, or whatever the old title was. Yeah, and that's it. Like, that studio is now down to, like, Skunkworks, and we all know EA and how they work. It's like... Yeah, you'll get Mass Effect, and then like
There
next
is
year
no
yeah.
fucking there is no fucking chance Mass Effect 5 saves Bioware. I'm not.
No, I'm not
I don't
even-
even think it's going to come out.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, it's not
And
even.
it's so sad, man. I love the Mass Effect trilogy. I really loved it. But if we if we ever get something like that, it will be a spiritual successor. We're not gonna get a Mass Effect 5 that's any good. It's tragic. But...
A friend of mine gave me the Mass Effect trilogy, like as a present, and then I never opened the dang thing. The remake that came out like 2 years ago, remember?
Yeah, the remaster is decent because it makes 1 a bit more playable than it originally was. But no, I love those games, man. I really love those games.
All right. We should take some control and not despair about the future of video games because we could just talk about that forever because the story's never going away.
We're being hopeful about the future of video games.
Nah, don't be silly. There's no hope. So, here's a big story from earlier this month. It is Square Enix could cut off game services for harassers with a new policy. So, there's a quote from Square Enix stating that they will not accept customer harassment of employees, whether it's through violence, defamation, intimidation, or other means. Quote, such actions do not only prevent our employees and partners from engaging in their work with a sense of security, but also cause disruption to other customers. Square Enix will not tolerate harassment and will take action as necessary. Now, you may remember a story from a while back during Final Fantasy XIV Dawnguard? Veildawn?
Trail.
Dawntrail.
Dawntrail.
Yeah, Dawntrail. Where Wook Lamott's voice actress, Shauna Bayer, was sent lots of transphobic threats, and Yoshida actually had to step up. Yoshi P had to actually go and talk to people, being like, what the fuck are you even doing? You stop doing this. This is severely fucked up. So
I mean, I don't know how they're going to enforce that, but I don't see how you can have a problem with it.
Well, I mean, what they can do is like, oh, you're going to be weird and dog shit about us? Well, we can see you're a Final Fantasy XIV player, and we'll just cancel your account.
Yeah, I mean, like, for 14, I guess you can cancel it. But I don't see how you could say, like, oh, we're going to tell GameStop to not sell you a copy of Final Fantasy whatever. Like,
well, we'd have take the money.
We'd have to see what's going on in practice, but I assume in cases that get really bad, they'd probably be something that's more domestic and relying on Japanese defamation laws. Can't really do that in the United States, but I mean,
they probably have immense stuff in the ULA just saying you can't do blah 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 blah. You'll be shut out, and which is what they're going to do. Now, if it's a single player game, it's like I don't think they can turn off Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on you.
No, yeah, that's the one where I was like, I don't see what they can do.
Yeah, but they're talking about
have anything to connect to. So...
Yeah, this is game services, so you know you could have your beloved Ever Crisis account shut down, and then what do you do?
Oh no, not all my skimpily dressed Tifa's.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm glad that they're taking maybe toothless efforts, but at least speaking out, because that was probably the worst story that we covered last year.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, speaking of various things that are in the news, because we are doing the news, that's weird, isn't it? XVII Rebirth is based on a 4Gamer interview. Katase and Hamaguchi both agreed that XVII Rebirth will not be a next-gen exclusive game. There you go.
You're on about the next one.
Part 3.
Yeah, Part 3. Final Fantasy VII Part 3 will not be a next-gen, meaning PlayStation 6 exclusive game.
Final Fantasy VII Revengeance will be out on this generation.
We don't have the timings for anything really regarding next generation. I mean, people are certain the PS6 exists, which probably does, but also, God, fucking incredible that stuff's coming out so soon after the PS5 Pro released.
No, it'll be at least 4 or 5 years from now. But also, like, I think it does say something, like, I love the PS5 as a platform and as a piece of hardware, right? But as a generation, if this generation is about to end, man, has it been disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And that speaks not to the system itself, but it speaks everything to, well, I guess it partly speaks to, what's his name? Useless
Jim Ryan.
Sony guy who stepped down, who sent so many of his studios on making live services games that have all gone cancelled. I guess that's part of it. But it's more from the fact of... Go on.
And Sony really doesn't seem to be happy with that, because also, like, in the aftermath of all of those games getting cancelled, Sony basically just said, no, the co-CEO thing we're doing with Sony is over. Herman Holster's back to his lower position, and we've put in the hardware guy in charge of the entire thing. Which, I mean...
They put the NAC guy in charge of everything? They put the NAC guy in? Yeah, Mark Cerny's in charge of it all now?
Cerny isn't the head of the hardware side of things. He's just they're really good designer. But yeah, like I don't think anyone's duties have changed, but still verbally demoting someone, even if you're not changing their duties, is kind of like, yeah, PlayStation Studios fucked up. They fucked up big time.
Oh yeah, like, you know, the other day they were saying, and I was encouraged by this, they were saying, yeah, so it turns out there's a whole lot of IP that we still have that we haven't done anything with, and we should start doing stuff with that. I'm like, thank you. Like, how many years have people been asking for a new Sly Cooper? How many years have people been asking
do they own
for
Sly
Jack
Cooper?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Like, how many fucking years have people been asking for this stuff? Like, you know, and like Resistance, like Killzone, you know?
I don't
you got
remember.
so much stuff.
I don't remember which
laying
one is
around.
Resistance and which one's Killzone anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why those haven't been back for a minute. But some of them absolutely deserve to be back. Like, but, yeah. And the other thing that was encouraging was, with how well Astrobot did, you'd have to think that they'd start looking into more kind of projects like that. But, yeah, I think it speaks a lot to how much the dev cycles have fucked things up, that the generations are not, you know, the generations are still lasting the same length of time, but we're getting fewer, like, standout titles from it. So we're going to look back on this as a weak generation, even though it was a really good piece of kit. And that's going to, I think I'm going to be, like, super disappointed by that. But
like the AAA's development cycle is so bad that it's taking studios the entire console generation to make a single game.
Mm-hmm.
Has never been viable. That is completely absurd.
So, like, that Naughty Dog game they announced at the Game Awards that looks like Heavy Metal. What the heck was that thing even called? Like, Lost Gods, Odyssey, Ape Escape or something? Yeah,
something Heretic or something?
Yeah. It had a long, weird video game title. That thing they announced, and what is that going to be out, like 2028, maybe? 2029? Mm-hmm. And because of that means Naughty Dog has completely sat out the entire PlayStation 5 generation because they decided to have them work on a multiplayer Last of Us game, which turns out to be
They do have that title that they announced.
What else did they have?
Naughty Dog. Yeah, they had that title that got announced. That it looks like a space.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it was.
You are on about that.
Yeah. Oh, do you not know what Heavy Metal is?
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay, so that's an early 80s animated film with a ton of sci-fi vignettes.
Gotcha.
And tons and tons of nudity. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Very important for every young boy's development for them to go watch Heavy Metal at some point. But
I think it's telling that when I saw the Naughty Dog game, the first thing I thought of was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh. Yeah, I could see Guardians of the Galaxy actually being inspired by Heavy Metal to some degree.
Yeah, it does. It does have that vibe.
Yeah. Who's the Guardians of the Galaxy guy? What's that director? Yeah, James Gunn. James Gunn has definitely seen Heavy Metal, and he loves that movie. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. And I hope his Superman movie is good.
So do I.
Looks promising.
Yeah. Also, rest in peace, whatever project that Ben Studios was working on, and rest in peace, Blue Team, the team. Everyone was thinking, oh yeah, they're definitely doing Bloodborne remastered.
Oh, Blue Point.
Yeah. I don't know words anymore. I can't remember a single name of anything right now. So
I will say one quick thing on this, right? But the idea of like it taking the entire console generation for an IP to get updated, that's not that new. I mean, Mario, you only get a new Mario game every console. You're only going to get one Mario.
You get one side scroll. You get at most one side scroller and one open 3D exploration Mario game. But then they put out like 5 other Mario games per year.
All right, well, why don't we find out?
Aggressively.
I want to know how many Mario games have been on the Switch. Let me go see if I can find a list of this. Oh, here we are. Mario games on Nintendo's official site. I think this will tell me the exact number of games that they're calling Mario games. So we have Mario and Luigi Brothership, Super Mario Bros. Jamboree, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Princess Peach Time's Showtime, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart Deluxe 8, Booster Pack, Super Mario RPG, Super Mario Superstar, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Story, Yoshi's Crafted World, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, WarioWare Move It, Super Mario Maker 2, Captain Toad Treasure Master, Captain Toad Treasure Master Special Episode, Mario Strikers TM Battle League, Mario Golf TM Super Rush, Mario Tennis TM Aces, Mario and Golf at the Tokyo Olympic Games, Super Mario TM Ultimate, Super Smash Bros. TM Ultimate, Super Smash Bros. TM Ultimate Piranha Plant, and this is a whole bunch of DLC for that. Also Mario and Rabbids, those 2 games. And Luigi's Mansion 3. And WarioWare Get It Together.
The point being, like, you got Mario Odyssey and that was all you got from the Switch, right?
No! I just named like 500 games.
As far as the 3D ones go.
Okay, yes, there's only one 3D.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like
even then, there were 2 main series Mario games on the Switch because Wonder came out last year.
There were 3 technically because of the Bowser Fury expansion.
Oh right, yeah. The add-on to it was a 3D World or 3D Land. I keep mixing.
That was part of 3D World.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, to me, if I have to wait until the PS6 to get the next Ratchet and Clank, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, because I understand it from a certain point. The idea of having, one game from this IP per console generation, like that's not too heartbreaking for me. Like, but what is more annoying is, and another great example, by the way, Ghost of Tsushima, the sequel to that, it looks like it's coming out on PS5, and I doubt there'll be Ghost of Tsushima 3 before there's PS6. Like, that part is, I can understand it up to a point, but my problem is more, when so many of your studios could be making one game from a certain IP per generation, but they're not able to do that because half of them are on a live services thing, and then it turns out, oh, that was a waste of money, we shouldn't have done that. And then it turns out, oh, actually we're shutting down the studio that did this live services thing, and we've made like a giant loss from it. Like, that's when it gets...
Yeah, to be clear, I'm not talking about IPs. You don't have to continually make sequels to the same thing over and over if you're a studio. You can do whatever the hell you want. I am talking explicitly about studios. If you can only really put out one game per console generation, that one game has to fund 7 years of development costs.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
It's not viable.
And that's why Dragon Age... That's why Dragon Age Veilguard needs to sell 5 million copies, because EA fucked up the development of that game multiple times, tried to make them make a live service game like twice. Finally, they were able to get it to a single-player version, and by that point, it had been in development forever, including one time that it got completely shut down to make the stupid mech game that died in like a month.
Yeah, fucking Anthem.
short, we are
How do you
so
remember
lucky as
these
Final
fucking
Fantasy
names
fans.
of things?
We are so lucky as a fan base that we have 2 mainline games that are already out. We had the Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off, and we're about to get a 3rd one.
Final
in the
Fantasy?
form of- Yeah, we're gonna get Final Fantasy VII Revengeance in a couple of years.
What's this Shadow the
Right.
Hedgehog? What's going on?
Stranger in Paradise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
call
I
everything
remember.
by
Oh, I
its
remember
silly
that joke now. Okay, that wasn't bad.
I call everything by a silly name. But-
No, I call
yeah,
everything
yeah.
by.
That's the thing. If you want to shift to an IP focus, yeah, Square Enix has at least 2 studios working on the mainline Final Fantasy series at any given time. They have Studio 1 and Studio 3. And then they also have a bunch of other stuff because, Studio 1 is not just the dev team, it is also their creative leads. So their creative leads can go liaise with Team Ninja or whatever other company they're outsourcing to do whatever side project Nomura or Katase or whoever wanted to do. So they can keep things alive because they're able to spread things out. A lot of these IPs and stuff, they're single studio affairs. So combined with the one game per generation pace things are going, they just can't put stuff out.
So we've ended up talking about how fucked video games are again, just as a point of inevitability.
So is it time for the main topic?
No, because one more thing.
There's more news.
The GDC Awards announced their finalists for Game of the Year, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is on there, along with
Nice.
Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Helldivers 2, Metaphor ReFantasia.
Yeah, see, I'm at this point somewhat okay with the fact I still feel like 7 Rebirth to me is a clear choice for Game of the Year. That's as someone who loved Astrobot. I thought it was a masterpiece. To me, 7 Rebirth is just a much more complete game. But with how many Game of the Year awards it has received from various publications, I'm somewhat okay with it. However, I really think it deserves to win that. But
I feel like people with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth are like the guys who, I don't know, hours, maybe at 4 a.m. on November 3rd, are like, all right, here's how Harris can still win. If she just runs the table on these states, here we can prove that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was a Game of the Year. If it just wins this, that, and the other,
But yeah, but the thing is that it did actually pick up a good amount of sales, even still around that time.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Game Awards finalists, it might be a case of it's kind of like the Academy in a way, where it's whoever's the finalist for best film, those movies will all get
the nomination is absolutely more important.
Yeah, the nominees are all gonna get a shit ton of views. Basically, they're gonna get a lot more attention. So the fact they got nominated, I've made peace with it. Basically,
and it is actually perfect timing for the industry because the nominations for TGA, they come out just before Black Friday.
Yeah. I think I've made peace with it overall, even if I did think it deserved it.
You know what? I don't think
Hopefully,
my choices need to be.
Revenge.
I don't think I need my choices to be validated by random awards. That said, the substance for Best Picture. Let's do it, Academy.
Heard very good things about that one.
Yeah. Also, my movie of the year wasn't even nominated for Best Picture. Not that I've posted it yet. That'll be posted right when I'm done with this.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about the news. So everyone's been newsified. We've done journalism, I guess. No, we haven't. This is not journalism. This is not. No. All right.
This is punditry.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This is punditry.
Oh, God. All right. So, SomeColorMage, you're Stephen A. Smith. Technobliterator, you're Sean Hannity. And I guess I'm Colbert. Can I be Colbert?
I guess you can, but you chose like literally the worst choice for me.
Hey, no,
You know?
I did not actually. I could have gone way worse. So much worse.
Yeah, I guess there is worse. But
Yeah.
of the three you chose, I've got the worst one.
And I gave myself the best, of course. You know what? No, I'm Jon Stewart. Suck it. It's my show. I'm Jon Stewart. So, let me see. Did we have any other newses? We did not have any other newses. All right, so we like to talk about a main thing here because it justifies the purpose of doing a show, because there really isn't that much Final Fantasy news, and we did not play Neo Fantasian like we were supposed to. Sorry, Sakaguchi. I've had a rough
We
month.
will one day.
Maybe. I kind of doubt myself that I'm ever going to play that video game, but one day, sure, maybe. So, Final Fantasy XVII. It has not been announced. It is not going to be announced probably in a long time. I imagine there's better odds of a surprise Final Fantasy 16-2 coming out next year than a Final Fantasy 17 trailer. So why don't we do it? We're going to make it right now.
Yep.
On this podcast. We're making it up. So unlike a real video game, which, requires actual craft, and unlike a real thing, which you actually have to make, we're just going to go make it up. And because we made it up, that means it's better than anything that could ever possibly be, because it's not there. Thus, it is perfect forever. We nailed it completely. I cannot believe how great we are at this. We should do Final Fantasy 18 after this, too.
Of course.
Yeah. So, we're going to do some bad fan fiction, and the name of the video game is Final Fantasy 17. So, where do you think we should set this game? What do you think should we do sci-fi? Should we do fantasy?
I miss sci-fi. I really miss the sci-fi setting.
You miss sci-fi?
Like, it's Final Fantasy VII, has a bit of the sci-fi stuff, but it's a very distinctive kind of thing. We haven't had anything that hews closer to 13 in a long
that's what
while.
I mean.
Okay.
Right, like, I feel like, to me, the best setting in the series, like, I think everyone will agree with me, Ivalice.
But that's not sci-fi. That's
not
antiquity.
sci-fi. But what I mean is that, like, Ivalice is just such a unique setting. You know, it's not something you could find in like just your typical like Tolkien-inspired fantasy setting.
Well,
right.
I'm not gonna do it. Okay, you keep going.
Okay.
There are Tolkien heads that are freaking out right now, including myself, but we're all gonna be quiet and let
I
Techno go.
apologize to them in advance. But like, it to me the series is at its best when it has the kind of settings that are completely unique and completely original, and I do really miss the sci-fi stuff. For all the faults of 13, like, and again, I haven't played the game recently enough, but every time I look at like some of the art styles for it, some of the art direction, I kind of feel like they had something there. Like, I think they did have some good ideas, at least with the setting for that game. And I would love for them to revisit that.
I have actually heard people say the best looking game in the series right now, it's actually, if you get a 360 version of 13 and put it in a Series X.
I can almost believe that, because that game actually has really great looking character art. And somehow or another it avoided the weird, like, hair clippy texture thing that a lot of Final Fantasy games would have in the future. Where just like the hair never quite looked right and the faces.
God, it's not just Final Fantasy. Hair is a fucking pain in the ass.
For all video. Yeah. People should be bald. It would make video game development easier. So when we're saying sci-fi,
right?
do we want to go full space opera with this thing, or are we just sticking with 13's? It's like the far, far future, and everything's glass and lush, and I don't know. It all looks like a Dubai mall.
I tell you what, I would be really interested in what they would do with a space opera kind of setting.
Okay.
I think that would be fascinating, And instead of the airship, It could be. Remember the Kingdom Hearts 3 gummy ship?
Yeah.
No. Because I built mine into the shape of a Squirtle, so I don't think that's what you're referring to.
But like the gummy ship gameplay.
Yes, I do. Yeah, that was
Right. Yeah. The
that
more
was decent.
more openish kind of gummy
I
ship
feel
navigation.
like Final Fantasy would do such a I feel like Final Fantasy 17 with that kind of gameplay. I know there's a lot of listeners who hate the idea of what I'm saying right now. I would love that personally.
Dude, the gummy ship in 2 and 3 fucking rules.
It really does. I love it.
In 2, yeah, it's really, really good. I thought 3, it was very easy to get lost in that weird jumble of nonsense, but yeah. No, in 2, it's a legitimately pretty cool rail shooter. In 1, it's just like real dog shit Star Fox, but
One is just slow.
Yeah.
It is.
But to me, like, if you did a Final Fantasy 17 like that, you know, there's this whole debate been going around of like, well, how do you do world maps anymore? Because world maps look silly now. Like, you know, and how would you have a whole world where, like, how would you have something like the size of a planet, and then you have someone running around in it? Like, you can't really do that anymore. But then, you know, you do the zone thingies like what 12 does, and I guess 7 Rebirth does now. You do like that, and then it's like a more limited view of an actual world that you're going around, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you did that in a kind of like gummy ship-esque thing, in a space opera kind of Final Fantasy, then, you know, you kind of avoid that problem almost. You know, because you can go through the different worlds, the different zones, but then you have your little like spaceship that gets there. Like, I don't know, I personally think that would be such a cool thing for Final Fantasy to do.
okay,
Like,
so that's
it's something unique. They've never done it before, and I think they should give it a shot.
okay, so that could be one of our big kind of side activities, is flying around in your spaceship and shooting random monsters, because it's Final Fantasy, there's monsters everywhere.
Yep.
Can I put in something? We need Skies of Arcadia combat. We need airship combat.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Like, if you're going to fly around, you need to be able to have jewels and stuff in your ship.
Because, like,
Absolutely.
you could do the real-time thing, but, like, we'll have, like, boss battle spaceships. And those are going to be
Absolutely.
Skies of Arcadia turn-based style. And, because I was playing Metaphor ReFantazio, and there basically are airships in that. And you think, oh, we're going to do Skies of Arcadia battles. Like, airship battles. And no, you don't.
Well, so let me ask you that on the turn-based thing.
Yeah.
Right. So we've already agreed we're doing airship turn-based combat. So what are we doing for regular combat?
So here's the thing. You know, 7 Rebirth might be one of my favorite combat systems in the entire series. But, you know, while I guess the jury's still a bit out, since no one really has proper PC sales data, I don't think people really care that much. Like, you know,
Okay.
I think maybe there should be a bit of a return to basics, bring back, you know, the more, you know, SNES through PS3 ATB system, I mean, not to make everything into 13, but I still really love 13's battle system. It has a few rough edges, but the idea of having this ATB system where you queued up multiple turns at once to use in a combo was I felt really fun, and you could make something out of that.
What do you think, Luke?
Like, not
'Cause I
exactly
don't
like
hate that.
13, but something that is more within the realm of, I don't want to say turn-based, because like the thing I have a hang up on is that if you take too long, the enemy gets a free hit in. That doesn't scream like a turn-based system
Yeah.
to me, although everyone keeps calling ATB turn-based. Like,
I call
ATB
it turn-based 'cause I don't
exists. That's
care,
that's what Dungeon Encounters uses. But yeah, I did like this idea of basically replanning a bunch of actions and trying to combo them together for the best result.
I think Final Fantasy 13 specifically, that version because I never played Lightning Returns, and 13.2 kind of screwed it all up by having you only have 2 real party members and a bad Pokemon system as the third one.
Yeah,
also,
like
the difficulty
13.2
was
had
like
some good ideas, like being able to live switch who your party leader is, but
oh yeah,
the monster system sucked.
well, that wasn't a good idea as much as it got rid of a bad idea in 13.1, which is party leader death was game over, which is something nobody asked for and never should have been done, and never should be done in any video game.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Fair enough.
It's like when the next president comes in and undoes all this stupid shit that's happening right now, hopefully. Does that make you a good president? Or
because Shin Megami Tensei hates you, it doesn't work in series that don't hate you.
Yeah. So what I think is the big weakness for me with 13 is that it was so highly tuned. It boiled everything down so much to the bare necessities that there was like no creativity to it. And what I've always thought is cool about Final Fantasy is the completely unnecessary and probably meaningless choices like, hey, I'm going to do this battle with Red 13 instead of Barret. It's like, oh yeah, the game's designed that any one of them could win, but it's like, all right, cool, we'll do this.
Yeah.
Right.
Or in Final Fantasy V. Yes?
Like take out the near perfect play AI. Yeah, I'd agree with that, because as much as I like this pre-planning, which meant building around this AI that could do the actions better than you. Yeah, like if you want something that's a bit more involved, yeah, get rid of the systems that sort of made things a bit too streamlined.
Yeah, it did feel like with 13 there was like a dominant strategy that came up and there was really nothing around it. Where I like one of the things I love is, I was saying Final Fantasy V, the job system. There's a dozen redundant jobs. I'm like, all right, here you could have. I mean, obviously everyone's eventually going to use Magic Knight because that's the best one. But it's like, all right, well, here you can be a samurai, you can be a dragoon, you can be a knight. And it's like, it really doesn't make any difference functionally. They all kind of do the same thing.
You can still win with god-awful options.
Yeah. But in 13, it's like, there's none of that. It's just, all right, you got to be a synergist or a ravager or whatever. And that's it. You get 6 jobs, that's it.
I'm going to give my opinion, right? And I'm wondering what you might think. So first of all, I think whatever you do, I think that the system needs to be the job system. I think the job system needs to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love when Final Fantasy does really creative, like, progression systems. Materia is so fun as a system. What the Magicite did in 6, like, what they did in, like, 10, 9, like, how every game switches it up. I love that. Like, I really do rate that. But I feel like the job system needs to make a return and needs to come back in a modern game. It's been done so well in Tactics, done so well in 5. So I feel like whatever combat system you do, I think job system as the character growth, right? Now, as for the combat system itself, I'm gonna say I don't hate your idea. I really don't hate that. But my only thing would be, I have this small gripe with Final Fantasy right now, which is, I feel like ever since 10, there's just been this idea of, we have to experiment every single game, therefore we have to completely do the combat system again. And it is baffling to me as to why that is.
Which is why I'm talking about bringing back like the old ATB
exactly
as an alternative of turn-based.
Exactly, and that's why I really like your idea. Like, because for me, what Final Fantasy needs to do at this point is take a system and stick with it and iterate on it and improve on it. Because I don't get this idea of, we need to throw out what we did before and try again. Because that was never really what Final Fantasy was about. Like, in 4 they came up with the ATB system, and they did that for 5 games in a row. They iterated on it, and they improved on it. You look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's probably the best received single-player Final Fantasy we've gotten in a long... I don't think that's controversial. Best received single-player Final Fantasy we've gotten since 12, maybe.
That's pretty much undoubtable.
Right, but the reason it was able to get there is because they took what Final Fantasy VII Remake did, they took the things they liked and made them better. They took the things that didn't work, like aerial combat, and improved them so they worked this time. And then they innovated on it with things like the synergy skills. They took something that they'd done and they did it better, right? Whereas, Final Fantasy 15, they have that, in my opinion, really basic battle system. And then the next game in 16, they're like, yeah, we're going to do an action system, but we're going to completely redo 15. Like, as in we're going to completely do something different from that. And I don't understand that. Like, for me, I understand it from the sense of it was different teams that worked on it and they had a different direction. But to me, I just want to take something that Final Fantasy's already done and make it better.
Okay.
So if we're going with something like the 13 system or something ATB based, right? My preference would be do the 7 remake system again. That'd be my preference. But for this, as long as we're doing something we've already done and making it better, I don't hate it. Like,
okay.
I really respect that. And I would love to see that with the job system.
Okay, just in case, I'm going to institute a rule here, which is we always yes and we never no. So we're gonna build off everyone's idea, and it literally doesn't need to work because we're not actually making it, so it doesn't matter. So we are doing Final Fantasy 13 system with a job system, and I'm not even sure how you marry those two things together, but I think starting from there, and eventually we'll have like 5 million employees working on this in like Indonesia or something. They'll figure it out, so it's fine. Okay. We'll tell them, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that'll all. I think that's a great place to start. I think.
Yep.
I think one thing we want that I've never seen in a Final Fantasy game before is. Oh wait, no, I don't think we can get this in. Because I was thinking like.
Let's say it.
If we could have more of a tactical level where the environment actually matters, and some of the jobs are about building, let's say, walls or mines or that sort of thing, that'd be interesting.
Well, it's like the Geomancer, isn't it?
I think you could do something with it. Like it's definitely something that's a bit tricky because you have all of these diverse battle arenas that you have to be able to modify on the fly in some way, but it's definitely something that's doable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I rate that. Like it's kind of like the Geomancer in 5. Based on what terrain you're in, you get different abilities.
It's something I always wanted in tactics specifically, where it's like, oh, here's a Geomancer, it's going to be able to change the map, right? But its power it can't actually do that.
Yeah, and it's not like this is like a completely out there idea because like 10-2, 13, 13-2, while you never had direct control over where your characters stand, what you told them to do and how and what sorts of roles they were playing did actually play an active role in where they would stand, and that actually did do things like affect timings, make area of effect attacks easier or harder to pull off, and stuff like that. So, like, it's basically an evolution of that.
Something I always thought was super cool about the original version of Overwatch was like, oh, here's characters that'll build turrets, here's characters that can build walls. And it seemed like something that the game kind of lost at some point. I don't even know what Overwatch is doing anymore. But if we do like this, I mean, that makes the tank job more interesting because it's not just a guy absorbing hits, it's a guy that can actually, like, construct a defensive wall that they have to get through.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one random idea that came to me months ago is that defense and HP are the same stat, so we should just have one.
Yeah, I mean that's what 13 did.
I can see it. I can understand that.
I think Shin Megami Tensei 4 actually did that. There's no defense.
I think I understand it, but there's this idea of like, oh, do you want to, be more resistant to magic attacks, or do you want to be more resistant to physical attacks? I think that's the.
Well, you can still put in damage resistances and have that. Blue is bringing up Shin Megami Tensei. That is generally what it is. Shin Megami Tensei 4 in particular, new tiers of armor, because there's no defense stat, new tiers of armor gave you a lot more HP. but also you would have multiple different options at each tier. Each one would have a different weakness and resistance.
Okay.
Also, Shin Megami Tensei 4, you were fragile as hell in that game. That was...
And so we're doing the thing where, based on the job you have, right, like how well you've leveled the job, that increases your stats, right? So if you're a monk, you have a shit ton of HP. Well, we're saying HP and defense the same thing.
Well, if you're a monk, you might actually be very fragile. Because you're wandering around with no clothes on, man.
That is true. It's in Final Fantasy V, the monks always had the best HP.
Or you know what? They got so much friggin' muscle that the swords just break on their pecs.
Maybe the monks have the strength stat, right? And then knights can have the defense / HP stat. Ninjas can be like, or thieves or whatever, they can all be speed, etc., etc. But based on what jobs you've got, that improves the stats your character has.
Okay.
So I imagine if we're going with the job system, then we have, like, let's say no more than 4 party members, right? But you have to be strategic as to how you level them up. So, you know, if you're saying like this one is going to be this one's going to be your attacker, this one's going to be your, like, the person who uses swords, and this one's going to be a mage, right? And you'd level them up in all the mage jobs so as to get them better spellcasting, but then you might be like, oh, I want to beef them up a little bit, so I'll give them a little bit of a stint as a knight just to beef them up a bit so that they can be a bit less fragile, if that makes sense.
Ooh. This is a dumb idea. It just came to me. You're not one job. All of your limbs can be different jobs. So you can have a knight arm and a mage arm.
I mean, it could make sense. Like, you know, you have 2 hands, you can dual wield jobs.
And, you know, it's future stuff, so it's all going to be like cyber tech anyway. You're going to be a space mage. By the way, all the jobs, I've decided they have the word space in front of them, so you're a space knight and a space ninja.
Okay.
The word space is going to be used a lot in this.
Right, so we've got the setting, we've got the combat system.
We have the combat system. We have the vague idea of the setting, but we don't really have any specifics about it, other than it's interplanetary travel. We have something like combat. Why don't we make up some characters?
Well, yeah, just before we go to the characters bit, what I wanted to say on the combat system was I do kind of love the idea that you have your little space combat that is turn-based, and then your regular, and that space combat can be almost like a throwback to the older games, and then you have the more quote-unquote modern ATB thing going on at the same time. Like, I really rate that idea.
Yeah.
But so we're making up characters.
Yeah, and we should not give up the 3D action-y space combat too. That'll be a mini game or something.
Yep.
All right, so I think a better way of, like, we could come up with a plot, but I think a better idea would just be making up guys and then think of a plot later, because I feel like that's how old Final Fantasy games used to be made. Like, if you look up the Final Fantasy VII development, it was just them, like, throwing a million ideas against the wall, like, oh yeah, we'll have Mulder in this, and that's who the original idea for Vincent was. He was going to be Mulder from X-Files, and a vampire for some reason, somehow.
Yeah, and then Tifa came out really, really late in development, and she existed because they wanted a love triangle.
Do we want a love triangle?
I don't. Okay, let me start by saying, right, I don't know if you man will agree with me, but, you know, it's nothing against Clive, it's nothing against Noctis, nothing against, you know, so many protagonists that have come before, but can our main character please not be an anime boy this time?
I agree, and I was going to say we should have a female main character.
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
And like I don't want this to be one of those games where people are like, well, you know, they're not really the main character. It's really more of an ensemble piece, which is what you heard about 13 and 6. No. This is going to be main character shit. Like, This will be
Also, bullshit. 13 was not an ensemble just because some of the time you don't
Oh,
play as
no.
Lightning.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Also, if you're mad that there's a female main character, I am doing this specifically to make you mad because I hate you.
Yep.
Yep.
Should it be a woman of color as well?
I don't know.
I'm not getting into that.
You know what? They could have
Fair
blue
enough.
skin as their compromise.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's an alien. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's an alien woman main character.
Yes. What does she?
Why do we say
What's
there's
her?
no humans in this thing?
What?
Like everyone, like maybe everyone's an alien.
I think we can do like a John Carter of Mars thing where there's like 4 or 5 races and they're mostly all different colors.
Yeah. Like like I was thinking 9, like Final Fantasy 9. There's no real human in there except
Steiner,
I guess, and Steiner. Yeah, like kind of like that.
Oh, you want like furry people a little bit? Like people will
like,
have Goku tails.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. Like just everyone's an alien basically.
Yes, I agree that everyone should be alien-ish, but some should be more alien than others because this is an RPG, so we need little animal people. It's a requirement.
Yep.
One party member must be an adorable animal person.
Yep.
All right, what is our main character? What does she fight with? What's her iconic thing?
Okay, so we've already done the gunblade thing because the gunblade is like
We've
that's
done
such a-
gunblades
that's
to the
still-
point of absurdity at this point.
yeah. That would be
Yes,
too,
unfortunately, I have played Final Fantasy 14, so I am gunbladed out.
Mechs.
Mm.
Mechs.
Oh, she fights with mechs.
No. I mean, like our concept for the battle system, it should be mechs. Everyone's riding mechs.
Do you know what? With the job system, that so fits.
It does.
But then-
It does, doesn't it?
Oh
Actually,
shit! Yeah.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
guys.
mechs.
Okay.
Yeah, we're space mechs. Okay, there we go. It's Gundam. We've done a Gundam Final Fantasy.
Fuck
But
yes.
Oh yeah.
all right, so our main character though, she needs some kind of a weapon. SomeColorMage, you got an idea for this?
I mean, it's always tempting to go to the old faithful of your hero has a big fucking sword, but
It is
I don't know,
kind
I
of a
think
standard.
I think for this idea we need something a little different. We need something that kind of accentuates the kind of mech fighting without just being run up to the enemy and swipe at them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, what about a ninja sword?
But that's just I guess you could use like a ninja sword.
Yeah, I mean it's a little different.
Could have 2 of them because they're ninja
Yeah.
swords. They're small.
I guess.
We could have. There's never really been a ninja main character. There's always been like
There hasn't.
warrior type main characters.
The closest is Zidane, yeah.
Zidane, yeah, but Zidane's more of like the thief type.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Yuffie was the best part of FFVII Rebirth, so we could have almost a
She was.
Yuffie-ish main character of this one.
I do rate that. I really rate that idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
that
'cause
sounds
it's
that
so
sounds good.
different.
Mm-hmm.
It's so different from what they've done,
Yes.
right?
We always have so much like angsty boys all the time, or angsty girls. This will also
Look, we
deeply
can-
annoy people, so I think we're on to
Look,
something.
Look, we can still have like a major party member who's still the angsty boy. Like we need some of that angst in there.
No.
Put
We
in
should.
there,
We
yeah,
should. Yes, I
definitely.
like that idea. We should have like a classic Final Fantasy ass main character, but he's the side character. So like we'll give him like the most fan fiction-y Final Fantasy main character name. Like his name's like Rain Swordblade or something like that.
Rain Swordblade. Let's go with that. Is he? But he could be like So, the Rain Swordblade guy, like I'm picturing Kane Highwind because his name sounds like Kane, right? But also the whole angst thingy.
Uh-huh. No, he's got like squall hair.
Okay.
You know
Okay.
what? What if we could do Metal Gear Solid 2 and make this guy like the main character for like years and years and then fake people
Tutorial,
out?
like
Just
Oh yeah.
unfortunately, that will never happen in the real world ever again. So.
Nah.
There's...
Well, it literally did happen again with Metal Gear Solid 5 in a way, but
yeah, but not to the same extent, you know.
not to the same extent.
No.
Well, okay, well, just back on the female main character point.
Yes.
Back on, did we decide a name for her yet?
I don't. You know what? I'm not all that into names, but you know, yeah, you can make
Okay.
a name. Sure.
I'm not good with names either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pump in like a random. Let's ask ChatGPT. Name a final.
No,
Final
unacceptable.
Fantasy.
No.
That,
You said we're not allowed to do no.
I will make up a name instead.
It's not copyrightable anymore.
I will make up a garbage name instead of whatever you're doing right now. Her name is Cicely Brambles. There,
Cicely
that's her.
Brambles. Okay.
Yeah, that's her name.
Cicely Brambles. All right.
I refuse.
So
I refuse to have
I'll
any.
say on that, like when I. Oh, am I still going? Sorry.
Yeah, no, keep going.
Yeah, when I met Yuffie's voice actress in person, one of the things I told her was like, look, you know, I like when I originally played Final Fantasy VII, I used to find Yuffie like irritating and bratty, but these days I just find her endearing and bratty because of how well I just thought she was performed like so well. So I think you can make a character like that and make them supremely likable and a really good. I think that could be a really good main character. And by the way, it literally was a good main character because we had Integrate.
We did actually.
So-
Yeah, Yuffie was a main character.
Right. The reality is that in the remake games, Yuffie isn't actually changed that much from how she is in Dirge of Cerberus. In fact, I'm pretty sure Integrate lifted some gags from Dirge of Cerberus.
Yeah, it's just, you know, with everything else about Dirge of Cerberus, Yuffie didn't really get a great chance to shine because everything about that game was so amazingly embarrassing.
So we have Cicely Brambles, was it?
I was going to say Bramford, but I realized we'd basically kind of used that already, so Bramson?
Cicely Branson. And we have the angsty boy, which is...
I forget what his name even was. It was
Rain
like Gene...
Swordblade, was it?
Rain Swordblade. I was going to say Gene Starwind, but that's from
Rain
Outlaw Star.
Swordblade.
Yeah.
Well, we can have a something star thingy.
We should have a star something, yeah.
Okay. What did you say his first name was? The star guy?
Oh, Rain.
No, that's the.
Oh,
that's
Gene
the angsty boy.
Starwind. That's from Outlaw
Gene
Star.
Starwind.
Yeah, that's a
Gene
great name, but
Starwind.
that's used already. It belongs to somebody.
Like, I mean,
shoot.
I think the star guy needs to be the Cid.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say
Sid.
that.
Sid Star. Fox? No. Star
I
Wars.
was
Sid
gonna
Star
say that-
Wars. Let's just call him Star Wars. War Star.
Okay. Yeah, so Sid Star something, whatever, right?
Maybe he'll just
And-
keep
and he's
changing
in-
it. He's just like, I'm Sid Sar something. He'll just
So
like,
he's in the party, right?
uh-huh. Oh, sure, why not?
Okay, so he's in the party. I really want an Auron character, right? I just, to me, like, Auron was such a genius thing that Final Fantasy X did that they haven't done again. Because you know how Tidus, you go through Final Fantasy X, and Tidus has the perspective of someone who's never played the game before, and then Auron comes in with the perspective of someone who's already played the game and knows everything that's going to happen, right? And I just feel like Final Fantasy needs to do that again, because I thought that was genius. So I would love for the Cid guy to be like that, where whatever Cicely's quest is, like, he's done the version of that before that failed, and now he's come along to help her out achieve it this time.
Okay. Could I get like a description of this guy? Like what's he
For
look
Cid?
like? Yeah.
Okay, so we can't really do the bearded thing because we've got a lot of bearded Cids already, right?
I mean, you could go really bearded.
Nah, it's low.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is 16 Sid was Rama, so I think we need to like dial back the beard a little bit for a while.
Yeah,
He didn't have. He had a
that's
short
fair
beard. That
enough.
guy.
Yeah, but then he turns
Oh,
into Rama,
yeah,
and he has a beard that covers his entire damn body.
What if he's completely bald but only has a beard?
Completely bald but only has a beard. That's actually, I can picture it for a Sid.
Okay.
I can actually picture that. I like
Alright.
that. So he's bald aside from his beard.
Mhm.
Right, I rate that. And he's got yellow skin. He's a yellow-skinned lizard alien with a beard.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I like
That's
where
your
that's going.
Sid. And he's the one who he built the mechs for the original version of whatever the quest was, right? And led his team to death, to their deaths. His team failed, so he ran off cowardly and assumed that the quest could never ever be done again. But Cicely, being her bright, really optimistic self, and her like, I'm keen on proving I'm the best in the world, right? She's like, no, you're coming along with me, and you're doing it, and you're gonna fucking like it. And Sid's like, all right, well, if you're gonna go to your death, I'm going with you. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Right.
I
And
like
his
this.
character arc, yeah, so his character arc is him slowly gaining belief that it can actually be done.
Okay. All right. So we have our angsty dude. We got a Sid who's our mentor character. We have our main character girl. I am going to introduce a completely wacky character because you need a few. This is a animated corpse, and the actual party member is an alien slug creature that lives in its brain and sometimes pops out of its ears and talks.
Oh, I love that.
Its name is Mongrel. Mongrel is its name.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to be careful with that, because in the UK there's an insult called mongrel, but
Mongrel, yes.
Yeah, if you put like an apostrophe somewhere in the name to make it sound more alien.
Oh, there's like 5 apostrophes.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
For no reason. It's just like one apostrophe after another.
Is it like the brain slug in Futurama?
It is kind of like the
it's
brain
like-
slug, yeah.
Yeah. So it's attached to the person's head, and then it thinks for them, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it'll actually have a series of corpses that it gathers throughout the game. One of the corpses will be one of the former bosses. It'll just be like, oh, I like this body better, so I'm jumping to this one.
Yeah, and then it also has like in 7 and Rebirth, Kate Sif sacrifices himself, and 5 minutes later, oh yeah, I just have another body. It's all fine.
Yeah, no, yeah. We don't die, my species. We are a collective, as a matter of fact.
Okay. I want a robot.
Oh yes, we do need a robot.
I want a robot. I
Robot
don't know if
love
they're gonna
interest.
be in the party or not. A robot ninja.
Love
Yeah.
interest.
Robot love interest, yes. No, our main character's a ninja.
Oh, true. A robot love interest. That, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how that would work, but I guess I rate it.
Okay. Well, it's not
Yeah,
like
so have it with...
I don't think Sicily's built this robot. The robot's like ancient. No, that's still a problem in and of itself. I'm breaking my own rule. Robots are just another race. And like we're not even dealing with them as artificial people. It's just like we're in space and there are robots that walk around.
Yeah, it's like we're in space. There's androids and stuff around.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Okay.
People marry robots
There's a
all the time.
Yeah, it could be the maybe it's a robot. Have you man seen the movie The Wild Robot, the DreamWorks movie?
I have seen that movie. It was decent.
I loved it personally, but it's it's the kind of robot that like just wants to be helpful but doesn't understand anything about like humanity and that kind of thing. So the robot's character arc is about kind of learning what it is to be human, and maybe part of that is learning what it's like to love, and that's how it becomes a love interest without making it weird.
Oh, it doesn't know what love is, so it thinks every interaction is love.
Yeah,
like someone tries to kill it, and it's like, is this what it means to be love?
Yeah, like you could do something super interesting with that. So yeah, I think so. There's gotta be a robot. So what's the robot called? Or
come up. How about Technobliterator? No, that's not the worst name ever, actually, for a stupid robot name. But I don't know. You just need like random letters and numbers, right?
Yeah. K-fob.
K-fob?
K-fob.
K-fob, yeah. The robot's name's K-fob.
K-fob.
Yeah.
And maybe it's an acronym for something, I don't know. But yeah, so and then this is very male heavy so far, so we probably need a woman character. I mean, I guess the
slug doesn't have a gender. I don't think we gave the robot a gender necessarily either.
Yeah, the robot could be voiced by Lupita Nyong'o. Like
we got her. I know her number. Yeah, she'll do it.
Yeah, but like the wild robot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be like.
Okay, so it's a female robot, and we now have a lesbian main characters.
Oh, they're gonna love that.
Oh yes, they will.
Okay.
All right. We'll hear all kinds of things. How this is final DEI and woke, and they'll come to our house and they will literally set us on fire. And you know what? We're doing it because we hate you.
Yep.
Look, there are some things in the series that shouldn't be changed, and I believe one of those things, continuing from 16, is getting this game banned in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Cristiano Ronaldo, you will not be playing Final Fantasy 17.
Okay, SomeColorMage, you got a guy?
No, I think I am guyed out. I am not very good at designing characters.
All right, how about another...
One
How about...
last female character.
All right, I'm going to give another character, they're 20 feet tall, because it's space. They come from a planet where everyone's super tall.
Oh, so it's Fran.
What?
So it's like Fran, really tall, like the tallest party member,
yeah,
right?
but taller.
Yeah, like really tall.
Oh, even
Crazy
taller
tall.
than Fran. Oh,
Yeah.
shit. So yeah, you did say 20 feet. Okay.
Yeah, they're 20 feet tall. They actually don't even get in the mechs. They're like the Zentradi, where the mechs are just armor that they put on in Macross.
Right, yeah. No, that works. That does work. Okay.
They are also a pop star, considering I'm doing Macross here. And they're a punk rocker.
What's the personality like?
Their personality is that they are so carefree, but it's actually a cover for real deep personal angst, because they are personally related to one of the main villain factions.
Well, yeah, you said it's a punk rocker, so I was immediately thinking of what's the guy's name from the Spider-Verse movie? But he was the coolest character.
Spider Punk, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Ronnie.
Yeah. She can be like that. That would just be incredible.
Okay. All right. This is a female character as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she could be the female version of that. That would be incredible.
Female punk rocker. She is half bald. No, No, she's got a mohawk. We're doing mohawk.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if can Final Fantasy do a mohawk? Yeah, we'll find a character artist that'll do it.
Well, they're aliens, so
they are aliens.
Aliens.
She's actually like a leopard creature.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. And she fights with a pole arm that's like crazy long, because they're super long. They're already tall as heck already. Their twin is a fascist, like just straight up fascist member of the enemy faction.
Okay.
And they must
So this
they must deal with this fact.
I
They're like
mean, it's the natural rivalry, punk versus fascist.
yes, it is.
Right, so we've already decided that the villains are fascists. So
Well, at least some of them are anyway.
Usually, yeah. Well, one of them
Only
is,
some.
yeah.
Okay. So are we doing the, is it the typical like Final Fantasy thing where it's a Star Wars setting where you have the Empire?
Oh, we don't
versus
have
the
an animal
Rebellion?
yet. We need an animal guy. It's required for all
animal?
all JRPGs.
Is
You
the
must have a
slug-
cute animal creature. Yes.
Does the slug not count?
Not completely.
Okay. All right. What animal are we going?
You need like a
with?
dog. The party must have a pet.
Yeah, we've already done the dog thing. That was the only problem, but we are yes-anding everything. So okay, we're doing a space dog.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, is it like when you say space dog? Does it like have like a space helmet on?
Yeah.
It's like
yeah,
that
it's
one
Cosmo.
dog from it's Cosmo. Yeah.
Yeah. Cosmo's in this. Cosmo gets his own mech.
Okay. It's got lasers.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I'm gonna add. To make the party members unique, even though they can get their own jobs, they do have their own stats, but more importantly, they have their own limit breaks.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No, we must have a
Of
limit
course.
break system.
Cosmo's limit break is that he can use his telekinesis powers to summon an asteroid to destroy the mech in front of him.
Oh, we can't actually call him Cosmo because that's too obvious. We're gonna call him Moscom.
Moscom. Okay.
Yeah. All this the Xeno saga fans will be impressed because this is Cosmos, but made better.
Sweet. Okay. So we've decided already. So are we doing the whole Empire versus Rebellion thing, or are we doing something unique?
I have another idea. Or I have an
Go on.
idea at least. So every single Final Fantasy game for like the last, I don't know, since at least 10 have been about God is evil and we have to kill
Yeah.
God. God's already dead. They killed God. The evil villain is the previous JRPG hero that killed God and has now been given control over this space world. And people have to deal with the fact that God's freaking dead, and this person's not particularly good at running things now.
Oh shit! It's Kafka.
Could be Kafka.
Well, it's similar to Kafka.
Well, Kafka made
No, I
made
love
themselves
that
God.
idea.
This is like, all right, God's
Like-
gone. Everyone's left with this. It's like Final Fantasy X-2, where people have to deal with the fact there's no God anymore.
Yeah, like Kafka, but maybe a little bit more sympathetic. Like this dude didn't ask for this, and now he's just kind of gone mad with power.
Yeah. No, I love that. Okay. Oh, mate. So Sid might have been someone that helped. What are we naming the villain?
We didn't come up with one yet.
Okay. Let's come up with the name of the villain first.
Let me think. All right, we can do Friedrich, because Nietzsche, his God is dead. His first name is Friedrich. Last name is
Friedrich, yeah.
Give me a last name.
Or if we're going with the God is dead thing, then we could look like what's the name of that one guy who this like massive atheist guy? Like
Dawkins?
No, we're not. No references to Dawkins.
okay.
Keep
yeah,
that dude out of
no,
it.
no. Okay.
How about who's the one that stabbed Christ? We can do a biblical reference.
Judas?
I know
Judas was the betrayer.
Yeah, he didn't stab him.
I don't know if the
no.
if
There's
the guy
a
that
there's a
stabbed Christ
specific
was
guy
named.
that stabbed Christ. There must be a name, considering there's everyone's obsessed so much about the Bible over every random thing. So, Roman soldier who stabbed Christ. He must have a name. I'm sure he's a saint.
It's not Longinus, is it? Because of the Lance of Longinus.
Longinus.
Oh, it is Longinus. You're right.
Longinus.
Oh, you're right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Friedrich Longinus.
Okay, sure. Yeah, there you go.
Friedrich Longinus. Okay, so maybe Sid's thing was that the mechs he built helped. He was part of Friedrich's crew when they killed God, and now regrets it. Or maybe it's either that, or he was part of a group that tried to stop Friedrich and totally failed. But either way, he did something with those mechs, failed, and has been totally disillusioned.
The mechs used to be God's angels.
Okay.
Yeah.
The mechs were God's angels.
And it's not
Right.
All right, we need like a name that's not just capital G God, because otherwise it's too
Obvious.
yeah.
Yeah.
We can go the Star King, I guess.
The stalking.
Yeah.
We can
Well,
work
yeah,
on
it's-
it later.
Yeah.
That could be a subtitle. Come up with another
So the
name.
stalking, the stalking's angels, right? Maybe Sid was like an advisor to the stalking. Something.
He was like the chief engineer.
Yeah, he was the chief engineer for the stalking, and he tried to stop Friedrich, but then totally failed.
Yes.
And he became disgraced because in the Stalking's day, the Stalking was like, like hated by a lot of people.
They were definitely
Like-
evil in a JRPG way.
Yeah, right. It's just that Friedrich hasn't been much better, right? So now Sid is despised by everyone because he's despised by people that hate the Stalking, but he's also despised by the people since then because they're like, oh, you didn't stop Friedrich, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like-
He has no place, not in the reactionary faction that are trying to like
And
revive the
Sicily
religion.
was the only one that would give him a chance, basically,
Yeah.
to restore his reputation, because she's like just nice to everyone, so she's the only one that would like hear him out.
And of course, somehow or another, everything we're doing will lead inevitably to the main villain's final actual plan, because it's a JRPG.
Right.
Yeah.
These are standard plot points. And the power of friendship will overcome all.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. This is all shaping up decently.
I'm not gonna lie, I love this idea.
Well,
Like,
it's so
I actually really
this is
fucking
the
love this.
easiest part of making anything. You just do it. You just have ideas. None of these need to be real. So
Yeah.
So Uematsu's too old to make the soundtrack, so who's composing for us?
I don't know. Who should compose? Well, I mean, Uematsu can still do it. We have unlimited resources. We'll just
He
pump
can
him.
do he can do the theme song, because he
Yeah.
always does the theme song.
We'll pump him through with so much ketamine that he'll feel like he's 25 years old, and he'll get the soundtrack done in about 2 weeks, and then drop dead.
Yep. Yeah, he's doing the Final Fantasy 17 soundtrack.
Yeah.
There's
we've
no
done
one
it.
else that can do it.
Art design, though. I mean, who do we want for this? Just get.
Well, these days it tends to be Ferrari, doesn't it? Roberto Ferrari.
We're gonna get
But,
some really big breasts if it's Ferrari.
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
true.
yeah,
Well,
that's fine.
Okay,
but-
I wasn't
yeah,
complaining.
But I mean, I do think Nomura tends to be pretty good at the more sci-fi end of things, and Ferrari is his successor. So yeah, get Ferrari.
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah, easy
obviously Amano's my favorite, but yeah, I think for this setting it has to be Ferrari / Nomura.
What mini game we got? We just have anything.
Yeah, well, we've already decided there's the shooting
Yeah,
in
but
space minigame.
you have to have more than
so-
that, though.
But you know,
Alright, I
the
wonder
good
what Chocobos
the
are
sign
like.
of a great RPG. We need the card game.
We do need a card
Okay.
game. Yeah.
We need a card game. We're putting Chocobo Hot and Cold in there, right? Like,
I was
every
thinking.
time-
Putting Chocobo something in there.
Yeah, we must have a chocobo something. I was thinking we could revive Blitzball.
yeah.
Space
revive
Space
Blitzball. I love
Blitzball. Yeah.
That would actually work really well in this kind of
It
setting,
actually does
yeah.
make more sense than it does in Final Fantasy X,
Oh,
where it's
and
drown
also-
ball.
And also, there's a space gold saucer, which is just a space station, right? The space gold saucer, and that's where they play the Blitzball Cup final, and it's also where you can do like, there's going to be chocobo races on there, right? But there's like, we can have a shit ton of mini games in the space gold saucer, but I love the idea. Yeah, I just love the idea of doing chocobo hot and cold in a setting like this, because every planet you go to, you get a new different setting for the chocobo hot and cold.
Yeah, we just use Chocobo Hot and Cold and just bring it back. That's a perfectly functional minigame, and you can just have it work again. If anything, it could probably work better now, because like in Final Fantasy IX, you have to hit the button, and it takes so long for you to get the quack, quack, quack. You can do it like it's faster. You get more of a sound effect, more of like a feedback off your controller.
Yeah, because like 7 Rebirth already kind of has the template for Chocobo Hot and Cold in
Yeah,
there.
it does, doesn't it? You're right.
It does.
This is literally what I'm talking. Except it sucked.
What we're basically doing,
It was so
we're
tedious,
basically bringing back all the mini games from the old games that we really like, but making them better.
I hated Blitzball. Despised
I mean, I
it.
didn't care for Blitzball, but I like the idea of Blitzball. Like,
Yeah, no, this is gonna, like, when I say we're doing Blitzball, we're not gonna do it like it was in that game, where it was terrible 2D, and there was no, it was all stat-based and whatever, it was just miserable. Now, this is gonna actually be like three-dimensional rugby.
Yeah, I mean, if you did want to do Blitzball, you would do it like the stat kind of way of doing it. You kind of do it like Football Manager, you know.
Yeah, there would be
where it's all
stats and stuff,
about-
but I don't want every move to be like, oh, here's numbers coming up. It's like, oh no.
No, yeah. So you could combine the two elements of it. Like, you know, you have that side of it in terms of like the player recruitment and whatever, and you can recruit people from the different planets to get new players on your Blitzball team. But then the actual game itself, yeah, it should be like a rugby kind of situation. Like you play a rugby game, but it's actually playable. Like, it's not like, oh, do it a kind of, because like Blitzball is kind of like a turn-based weird thing, which wasn't that fun. So it's something that you actually have to play, but based on what characters, like what players you buy and whatever, they'll like be better at it, if that makes sense. Like, but it's still playable. It's like FIFA. You know, like if you get Bellingham, okay, he's going to dribble better, but you still have to actually do the dribbling yourself.
And this could be like the Yakuza main minigame, where inexplicably your main character has been given management of a blitzball team. Like, you just like wander in, they're just like, oh yeah, here, you own this team now, here's the keys to the stadium. We're the worst team in the league. Go and make us the best. And then you just do that as a side activity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like if it's a Yakuza like a dragon style thing, then inevitably there'll be you'll get into fights with like evil rival coaches and stuff.
Oh yeah. We'll have full nonsense sports things on this. One of your party members is actually going to be one of the evil coaches and suddenly start cosplaying as like some sort of crazy rivalry thing. It's like, aren't you helping me rescue the universe? Like, no, it's more important. I'm the only one allowed to defeat you.
All right.
Yeah,
So
yes,
I think the last, most important thing is, what is Friedrich's final plan?
Oh, is Friedrich the final boss, or does Friedrich get overthrown by somebody?
Oh, good question. It would be very Final Fantasy if we do a Zeromus, and then like the actual final boss shows up right after that. Like Friedrich like unleashes something, and then the thing he unleashes goes, ha 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 ha, you fool! I was just using you. Now I will destroy the world. Like,
it's the Star King that's not actually dead because it's God.
Yeah, well, what if Friedrich didn't finish the job properly, and this whole thing has been a setup for the original Star Lord or whatever we're calling him to reassert his power, and then decide, screw it. This whole thing has been terrible. I'm destroying everything, starting over.
Okay.
I rate that.
Yeah, so the final boss will be us actually killing the Star King. For good this time.
Yeah, I rate that. And then Sid is like, but I trusted you. I thought you would heal humanity. And the Star King's like, no, you fool. Friedrich was right to be afraid of me. Ha 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 ha.
Technobliterator is actually voicing the final boss, as it turns out, too.
I guess so.
Yeah. Alright. And then, wait, Friedrich was one saying it, or which one was the Star King? Oh, alright,
I think the moral of the story in this is basically like, Friedrich might not be great, but at least he meant well and he was coming from a good place. Whereas the Star King, might have brought stability, but he was also fucking awful. So the moral of the story is things are complicated, and good is not black and white.
It's complicated,
in conclusion,
but you can punch it with the power of friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
In conclusion, Final Fantasy XVII is a world of contrasts.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I just really fucking love what we come up with.
Yes, it is one of our sillier episodes.
No, but I legit, I want Square to make this. I'm not even
I'll send them
this game, man.
I'll send them the audio file, and we'll see what they do. I'm sure they'll be calling in the next couple of weeks, because they got nothing on their schedule for 2025, so,
Right. Yeah, hopefully their translator can make it sound better than we've made some of it sound.
Yes. So
I actually really fucking love this idea.
I think the most important thing is to not ask Techno or to write it, because we will swear more than the Final Fantasy XVI script if you let us do that.
If I write it, there'll probably be even more swears somehow.
I'll voice it.
Yeah. This will be, if I write it, this will be the first Final Fantasy game with massive amounts of nudity somehow. So.
One last thing.
Hey, hear that swear? We'll write it.
And remember the rule is yes and. You're not allowed to know anything.
Uh-huh.
Sid has an Arnold Schwarzenegger accent.
Shit.
Right?
Damn it.
I always imagine Steiner with the Arnold Schwarzenegger accent, and Sid has to actually have one. Right? Sid will be like, I trusted the Star King with my life, and I built these mechs for the Star King. It turned out to be a mistake.
Well, now
destroyed the Star King.
Now the project's canceled. Shit. That's the end. All right, so we should go wrap this thing up, because it's getting late for me. I have more stuff to get done, and Technobliterator needs to eat pizza. A little birdie has told me. So, all right. So this was the Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast. This is a monthly podcast we do where we talk about Final Fantasies that exist and don't, as it turns out. And come join us in February when we talk about something or another. I don't know what. The podcast.
Let's hope something happens.
Hopefully, yeah. The podcast music is La Montana de los Jovenes Caballeros by XPRTNovice off the OC Balance and Ruin soundtrack. It sounds like Mount Koltz from Final Fantasy VI. The podcast was hosted by BlueHighwind. It was produced by BlueHighwind. That's why it sounds like crap, compared to other real podcasts. And also SomeColorMage and Technobliterator were here. And that's the whole story. So I am going to go take care of some other stuff, then I'll go to sleep. Good night. Yeah, I don't want any visuals because this is a podcast, you stupid OBS. You stupid OB stupid. That's what it stands for.
Maybe if we were doing live recordings and such, but no, I'm not fucking turning my camera on.
No, I have a camera. I have several cameras I could use. I have 2 different laptops of cameras, and you could see how handsome I am. with my disheveled
I
hair.
do
and-
wonder sometimes if we would have an easier time reaching people if we did do it like with visuals as well. I don't know if those videos do better on YouTube somehow, but with that said, like yeah, it's much more effort.
I think
It's
if we
much
were
more
to turn the
ethical, man.
cameras on, we would end up with somehow negative views.
I am not turning my camera on. If you ever demanded this, I'd sooner get someone to like just draw a PNG tuber of my FF14 character and use that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
we
I
can
mean,
become.
that could work too.
We can become those animated YouTube peoples. We can all have our own little cartoon people.
We could probably try that too, like
Yeah.
unironically.
We
I
could
think
be
it's
we
literally
could be
just
a
the,
VTuber.
I think it's literally just the algorithm likes that better or some shit. I don't understand it fully, but
Yeah, I'll be a talking
the,
Vivi, and Technobliterator. You'll be a talking. You'll be a talking Mew, one of those little.
okay, the
those little-
muse.
yeah, one of the Mews, and
Alright.
SomeColorMage. You'll be a talking Rydia.
Okay.
That's how it's gonna be. And we'll all be adorable, and people will love us, and we'll make millions and millions of dollars, and go on tour, and hide in the back. No one will ever see our faces, but we'll be on tour, and we'll start a pop group.
Nice.
Yes, that
Be
is how
Final
it will
Fantasy
be.
10 too.
That is how it's going to be. Yes, it'll be the Final Fantasy 15 that we always should have had, which is a road
Yeah.
trip. Okay.
An
Anyway,
actual
so
one this time.
yeah, so the actual thing that we do and whatever the hell it is, let me do it.
Okay.
The Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast is brought to you by. Oh, I didn't think of anything yet. Shit. Oh yeah, all right.